Hello my loves, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial we're going to learn how to draft, cut and sew a turtleneck collar. Now to do that you need your main bodice, and for the bodice I'm working with a princess dart bustier. So right here is my pattern. I have a tutorial here on the channel on how to draft and cut a princess dart bustier, so you might want to go and check that out to know how to cut your princess dart bustier. So right here I have the chest line, bust point on the bust and the half length, because this is a half length bodice, and this is the side front and center front. So we are not going to talk about princess dart bustier. We'll just go ahead and focus on the tutorial for today, which is the turtleneck collar. Now I have a tutorial on my channel on how you can determine your neck width and your neck depth for whatever type of outfit you want to make. But for this particular project, I'm working with a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 2.5 inches. So if you don't have your neck circumference and you want to make a turtleneck collar, and for a medium size, this particular neckline works 3 inches width and 2.5 inches depth. Alternatively, I'll link the tutorial on my channel on how to determine your neck width and your neck depth. I'll link the tutorial. I'll drop the link to that tutorial in the comment section and also in the description box, so that you can go and check it out. So now adding half-inch sewing allowance around the collar. You can see that I'm adding half-inch sewing allowance around the collar. So this is what you need to do on your pattern for you to draft out your turtleneck collar. So go ahead and do your shoulder slope, and that is it for the front. So remember, the neck width I'm working with is 3 inches and the neck depth is 2.5, right? And this is for a medium size client. So for the back, I've drafted my pattern for the back. It is not a princess dart, it's just a normal waist dart. Now because I'm not making a pattern for the back, I'm drafting directly on my fabric, so I don't need to start adding some allowances to the neckline. So what I've used for the neck width is 2.5 inches, right? So remember, for the front I did 3 inches, then added some allowance of half inch to it, so that makes the front neckline to be 2.5 inches. When I'm done sewing, that will be 3 inches, right? So that's what I'm doing to the back. I make the neck width to be 2.5 inches and my neck depth is 0.5. I actually want a neck depth of 1 inch, but I'm making it 0.5 so that by the time I'm done stitching, I would have the neckline to be 1 inch at the end of the day, right? So having done that, I'll go ahead and couple my pattern together. Transfer the pattern to your fabric, sew it up, and just get to the point where you only want to attach your collar, which is the point I've gotten to for that dress. You can see the dress right there on the table. So on pattern paper, I just made a horizontal and a vertical line, right? So one side of the line is going to be the back and one side is just going to be the front. Do you get? So just draw a line, a straight line, a horizontal line and a vertical line. Just make a center or make a midpoint at the pattern, right, to differentiate or to determine which part is the front and which part is the back, right? So this is my dress, you can see. So it's just, I fixed the sleeve and everything, just attach the collar. So I'm just going to match the shoulder line together, okay? The shoulder seam, I'll just go ahead and match it together. At this point you need to pin it because you don't want to have wrong measurements. So you can see the neckline, so I'll just go ahead, match up the back, the zip allowance at the back, or the zipper area at the back. I fixed the zipper already, so I'll just go ahead and match it up and pin it down, right? At the same time, go ahead and match the shoulder line, okay, or the shoulder joining or the shoulder seam, match it up together and also hold it down with a pin, okay? So the next thing that would be left would be the front neckline, so you can also hold that together and pin it down. So I pinned 3 strategic places: the back, the zipper area, the shoulder line, and also my center front. Okay, so these are the 3 places you need to pin. So look at me looking at the middle area at the shoulder line to be sure that that's where it is matching. Now, so it's time to measure. So I'll measure the front first. So from the mid area, from the shoulder line, I'm going to measure to the front, you can see, and I have 5 inches. Remember, I folded my fabric, okay? So I have 5 inches. Okay, you can measure that again to be sure. From the shoulder area, from the midpoint of the shoulder, you're going to measure to the center front, and you can see that what I have there is 5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and note on the pattern that the front is 5 inches. So I'll take back the tape and go to the back. All right, so from the zipper area, you've already fixed your zip at this point, so you're just going to measure from your zipper to the midpoint of the shoulder. Okay, from where you have your shoulder seam, from what I got, I have 4 inches. All right, so, and this is on fold. Okay, right, so after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and mark those measurements on each part of this fabric. So for the back I have 4 inches, and for the front I have 5 inches. So I'm marking this at the specified area, okay, at the places I noted that is for the back and the front. All right, so on the front I marked 5, on the back I marked 4. Now on that 5 inches line on the front, I went upward by ½ inch. You can also do 3/4. Then I'm going to use the slanted part of my ruler to connect it to the midpoint, okay, or the point intersecting the front and the back. Now the length of my turtleneck collar, I want it to be 1.5 inches. So 1.5 fits your turtleneck collars, except you want it to be very high. You can now do 2 inches. All right, so 1.5 is okay. So I'm just going to place my tape and mark 1.5 all around, okay, like so. 1.5 inches even at the back. All right, so I'll just go ahead and connect it up like this. For the back, I'm using the straight part of my ruler for the back. Now when I get to the front, I'm going to flip the ruler and use the curvy part of my ruler for the back. All right, now so what you want to do is to measure your lines to be sure that you have the accurate measurement. So here I need to measure to make sure I have 5 inches, and I don't have 5 inches. I'm just going to mark up and make up for the shortage I have around that area. All right, so at the lower part I'll still do the same thing, measure to be sure that I have 5 inches, and here I have 5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and square that up so you can see what we have. I'll do the same thing for the back, measure to see that I have 4 inches for the back, I have 4 inches, and the same thing for the lower part. So we are good to go on this pattern. So this is the front and this is the back of my turtleneck collar. So I'm also going to indicate that this is the area that would sit on the neckline of the dress, right? So I'm making an arrow indicating that that point is the part that will sit on the neckline of the dress. So I'll just go ahead and cut through. So if you're watching till now and you are new to the channel, I welcome you to this channel. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for joining us. This is Learn to Sew with Noni, and here on this channel I upload sewing tutorials every week. So if you like that type of content, please consider subscribing and turn on your post notifications so that each time there's a new video you'll be notified. And to my existing subscribers, thank you for always being here. Now I'm going to note that this part will be on fold, okay, the front side will be on fold. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and place this on my fabric. Now I'm working on a lace fabric, so I need to cut 2 pieces for the satin, okay, and 1 piece of lace, or 1 piece of lace, right? So what I'll do here is to go ahead and add ½ inch at the top of my pattern, ½ inch by the side, and ½ inch at the lower part of my pattern, just like so. Basically adding ½ inch all around my pattern. Now before I did that, I folded my fabric into 2 and placed the front at the folded area because the front has to be on fold, which is what I indicated on the pattern or on the paper. So I've added ½ inch all around my pattern. You can see that ½ inch all around. You have to make sure that this is accurate so that you don't sew on more or less similar ones than you allocated. All right, so now like I said, I'm working on the lace fabric, so it means I need 2 pieces of lining, one as underlay for the lace, so that because the lace is transparent, and one as lining. But if you're working with Ankara, you just need to cut out your Ankara and your lining. So what I've done is to flip the fabric into 2 like so, so that I can cut the 2 sides together, so I can cut 2 at once. Do you get? So one for the underlay for my lace and one as my lining. So that's what I've just done, to flip it together so that I can cut 2 at the same time. So you need to be trying ways to minimize or maximize your time. Okay, you don't need to start cutting this one and cut out the other one. So we need to be time conscious, right? So these are the ways to make sure that you're working, you're not like speeding things up or working at a really fast phase or pace, but you just have to know how to cut out time. Right, so now that I'm done cutting, I'm still going to place this same pattern. Okay, not the pattern now, but the one I've already cut out. I'll take out the pattern, then use it to cut out on my lace. Right, so I'm done cutting out the lace, and this is what it looks like. So this is the lace, and that's the satin, which is my lining. So I'm just going to place it like so, and notch the area that is going to sit on the neckline, because once I take out the pattern, it's going to be difficult to determine the part that will sit on the neckline. So while the pattern is still on the fabric, I'm just going to go ahead and notch it out to determine the place that would sit on the neckline. So I'll just go ahead and open this up. Okay, place the satin, then place the lace on top of it. So this one is the underlay. That's why I said you should cut 2 pieces of satin, all right, or lining. So the other one would be the lining piece. So I also go ahead and place the lining piece on the lace itself. Okay, so take out your pattern, and your notch is indicating that this is the part that will sit on the neckline. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it like so, and I'll sew 1/2 inch all around. Now for your turtleneck collar, you need to have a loop. Okay, so if you have your loop, you can place the loop on the main fabric and before you sew this round. So you can see I've sewn 1/2 inch all around, you can see. So instead of notching, I'd like to trim out the excess. Okay, you can notch, but notching does not really help me here, so I like to trim out the excess and leave like 1/8 of an inch before my seam allowance. Okay, so that I don't have bulkiness at the top, so that when I press or iron, everything is just going to lay really flat and nice. So you can see I'm just trimming out all the excesses. Okay, leaving around 1/8 of an inch after my seam allowance. So basically trimming out every seam allowance I have, so that I have a less bulky work. Alright, so now that I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and flip it out or turn it in. Right, so just go ahead and turn it out like so. You can use a needle to pick out the edges, or you can push your scissors into the seam and use it to poke it out. So you have to be careful so that you don't rip apart or rip a fabric apart. You can see, so use your scissors to poke it out. Now this is what it looks like. This is my turtleneck collar, so I'll just go ahead and give it a very good press. Now while I was doing this, I forgot to attach my loop, so I'll go ahead and show you how to fix in your loop. Okay, please don't forget to attach your loop like I have done. So it was at this point that I placed it together that I realized, where is my loop? So I'll show you how to make a loop. So just cut a strip of fabric and sew it up together. You can even use a bias tape, just fold it together and run a stitch along the length to make your loop. So using my what's it called, I forgot what this is called, but it's for losing your seam ripper. Yeah, so using my seam ripper, I'll just go ahead and rip out the seam. Then this is my loop, place it like so. I'm going to place the loop on the lace. You can see I place it on the lace, then use the lining to turn it out. Right, so basically just putting the loop on the lace, so that on the lining I'll just go ahead and stitch. So I used my seam ripper to open up the seam around that area, place the loop, then coupled back my seam together. So that's how to fix in your loop. Alright, so I'm done fixing my loop. You can see what it looks like. So it's time to fix or attach your turtleneck collar to your dress. So fold it into 2 and go ahead and notch the midpoint like so. Notch the midpoint for proper identification. Now I'm also going to get the dress itself. So you can see my dress. I've fixed in my flounce, my zipper, everything. The dress is looking very beautiful. So go ahead and still fold it together. I hope that your pins are still there, but if they're not there, go ahead and fold it back together so that you can notch out the center front. Okay, so match up the shoulder seam and get the center front. So also go ahead and notch out the center front. Then you're going to just open it up like so. You can see the notch on the center front. Now you're going to open this up, separate the main fabric from the lining. So you're picking one part that has the lace and underlay, then separating the lining. So that part that has the lace, you're going to place it on the right side of your front pattern and go and sew it all around. Okay, so I'm done sewing it all around. You can see I just placed the notch part on my front and I sewed it all around. Okay, so it's remaining the lining, so I'm going to use the lining to turn everything in. Now before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and notch all around the neckline. This is to reduce the tension around that area, so that by the time you are done sewing and you iron your neckline, everything is going to come out really nice. So you can see, just making sure that I notch all around the neckline. Please do not skip this process. Whatever you do, do not skip this process. It's really important. And in case you did not see what I did previously, I matched the midpoint of my collar to the midpoint of my dress, then sewed all around it using half-inch allowance. Okay, half-inch allowance, sew it all around using half-inch allowance. You are sewing the main fabric to the dress. Okay, main fabric to the front, to the right side of the dress. All right, so now when you are done, you have half-inch on the lining as well, so you fold it in like so. Go ahead and pin it down and then sew all around. You can see, so from what I'm showing you, you can already see what I'm saying, or you already and you can already understand what I'm saying, right? So just be folding half-inch inside, use it to cover up your stitches, and you go ahead and pin it down. You can see, so this is what it's looking like, very beautiful. So I'll go ahead and sew it up all around. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I am done. So this is what my turtleneck collar looks like. You can see, very neat inside and outside. And I've also fixed in my button. Okay, you can see the button, so the loop, I've used the loop to button it up, right? So this is what the turtleneck collar looks like. So I'll see you in my next one. Bye.